This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be howling at the moon. And we're going to be cleverly trying to figure out a magic word. You put those two things together, werewolves and words, and you have Werewords. This is from Bezier Games. It is for 4 to 10 players, and this is a social deduction game about words. It is the hidden identity word game. So I'm going to show you how the game's played, and then I'll see you on the other side for my final thoughts. The object of the game revolves all around a magic word each round, and one word will get selected each round, like it might be rainbow or race car. And depending on which side you are, you're either going to want to find this magic word or keep everybody else from finding it. Anybody with a secret role card that has a blue background is known as being on the villager team. Anybody that has a red background secret role is known to be on the werewolf team. The villager team is trying to get the magic word, and the werewolf team is trying to stop them from getting it. Now we'll finish setting up the app for the roles that we're using this game. Here we see highlighted the mayor, the seer, the werewolf, and 2 villagers, because those were the role tiles that we selected at the beginning of the game. If you ever want to deselect someone, you can just press on that player. So for example, let's say there's not a second villager, the one on the left will just tap, and it will deselect. If we want to bring it back, we just tap it again, and it will highlight. So now that we've got the right ones there, we're just going to go hit play at the bottom. The number 4 there just indicates how many players this is set up for.
Everyone, close your eyes. Mayor, wake up and tap your secret role.
Now if you remember, the mayor also has a secret role. In this case, let's assume it's villager, so the mayor's going to tap villager.
Mayor, choose a magic word.
Now the mayor will get to select which of the magic words they want. In this case, let's say he says golf club, he just taps on golf club.
Mayor, here is your magic word.
He'll now place the device in the center of the table and confirm the magic word.
Mayor, close your eyes. Seer, wake up and view the magic word.
So now only the seer is viewing the magic word.
Seer, close your eyes. Werewolf, wake up and view the magic word.
And now only the werewolf is viewing the magic word.
Werewolf, close your eyes. Everyone, wake up. You now have 4 minutes to figure out the magic word.
Now this is the main part of the game where you have 4 minutes to try to figure out what the magic word is. And now during this 4 minutes, everyone in any order is asking the mayor questions that have a yes or no answer. Like someone might say, is it a noun? And the mayor might say, well yes it is, and they'd place this yes in front of that player. Is it a living thing? Then someone says that and they put the no in front of them. If they're not sure, they can give maybe, for example. Now, one of 3 things is going to happen. Either someone is going to actually guess the magic word correctly, or the mayor is going to run out of all of the yes and no tokens, or the time is going to run out. Let's go over all of those.
Time is up. Oh no! You ran out of time. As a group, you now have 1 minute to find a werewolf.
So now you have 1 minute for everyone to talk about who is the werewolf? Who is the one that was trying to throw people off? And so everyone's going to be able to vote at the end of this time, and as long as the majority of the people are pointing at the werewolf has died and the villager team will win in the end.
Time is up. Everyone, 3, 2, 1, vote.
Now let's say it looks something like this. Now, even though there's only 3 people asking questions to the mayor, there probably would have been more tokens in here, but let's just assume the pattern looks something like this. We have this player that had a couple of maybes, lots of no's. Was that the werewolf trying to throw us off? This one looks really good, lots of yeses, and this player didn't do much. Maybe they were trying to wait towards the end and then just give one good answer to look good. Well, let's say the majority of people vote at this player. This player would flip over their tile, and if it is the werewolf, well, the villager team would win instead. If it was not the werewolf, then the werewolf team would win. Now, if the people asked enough questions that the mayor ran out of tokens, you'll press that one on the top left that looks like 8 tokens with a line through it.
Fiddlesticks! You ran out of tokens. As a group, you now have 1 minute to find a werewolf.
So once again, just like if you had run out of time, the werewolf is going to win unless the majority of the people are going to vote for a werewolf. And just like everyone else, the werewolf will be voting too. And during these votes, nobody ever shows anybody their role. Now let's say somebody gets the word correct. You'd press the correct button up the top right.
All right. You discovered the magic word. Werewolf. Turn your card face up. You now have 15 seconds to find the seer.
So now the werewolf is going to try to guess who was the seer, who was the person that seemed to know the most, who was the one that was guiding people to the answer. And then the werewolf is going to vote by pointing at that person.
Time is up. Werewolf. 3, 2, 1, vote.
And in this round, the word was cake, and we'd find out if the person the werewolf pointed at was a seer, well, the werewolf would win after all. Although if it wasn't, the villager team wins. So let's say we had a similar pattern to before, but since the magic word was found, the werewolf has flipped over their tile, and the werewolf's trying to figure out who was the seer, who was the one that seemed to know the most that was guiding them to the magic word. Is it this one with all the yeses, but a no? Or was it this one where that one yes really was the kicker and got us down the right path? Well, let's say they pick this one. This player would flip it over. Well, it's a villager. It was not the seer, so the village team would win anyway. But instead of doing this, if that player had selected here and indeed found the seer, then the werewolf would win. Now, what if the mayor wasn't a villager? What if the mayor was a seer? Well, if in that case, it will sometimes give the mayor an easier word since there's no seer out there to help guide the team. Now, if the mayor is actually the werewolf, since there's no werewolf out there, it'll sometimes give him a slightly harder word. And if the mayor is a werewolf, they can mislead with the answers they're giving, the yeses and nos, and they can actually lie about yes and nos to try to throw people off, but they've got to do it cunningly, or else when it comes time to vote for the werewolf, they might actually point at the mayor. Now, if you're playing with more than 4 players, you may want to mix in some additional roles. There's a second werewolf you can use, and when there's 2 werewolves, during the day phase when they're looking at the magic word, they also get to look at each other so they know who each other are. And then if the magic word gets found by the village team and it's time for the werewolves to vote, they can talk amongst themselves, and they can also vote for different players. If either of the player from the 2 werewolves that have been voted on is the seer, then the werewolves will win. If the magic word is not guessed correctly, if either of the werewolves have the majority of the vote, the villager team will win. You could add the minion that's also on the werewolf team, hence the red background on the roll card. Now the minion will get to see who the 2 werewolves are, but they won't get to see the magic word. Now, if the magic word is not found and the majority of the vote points at the minions, well, the village team wins just as if they had killed a werewolf. If the mayor holds the minion card, well, the mayor can lie and deceive just as if he was a werewolf. And if the magic word is found, the minion does not reveal their role, they do not vote, they just stay quiet, and the 2 werewolves will flip over and talk about who the seer is and vote as normal. Now the beholder will not get to see the magic word, but they do get to see who the seer is. So they can sort of cover the seer's tracks and follow up with what the seer is saying, so that if the magic word is found when the werewolves vote, if they vote for the beholder, the village team still wins. Of course, if the seer is voted by any werewolf, then the werewolf team would win and the village team would lose. Feel free to mix and match all these different roles to balance the game for your group. Now when setting up the app, you see on the bottom there it says Easy Words. That's a great place to start for your first few games. And then once you get the knack for asking questions, you can just tap right where it says Easy Words, and you go to Medium Words, which are a little bit harder. And if you've got really smart literate group, then move to Hard. And then if you want some crazy challenge, then go to Ridiculous, where there's many words that many people probably have never even heard of. Now under Other, there's actually some cool things you can do. There's word lists in the middle there. So we select that, and we can select New. And here you can create a new word list. At the top you'd put a list name, and then below you could paste or type different words in, 1 per line, and commas would become line breaks. Now you can also select what difficulty this word list is, and you can save it. Now you have to have at least 5 words in a word list in order to save it, but you can also go to werewords.com where other people including you, can upload your word lists, and you'll be able to download other people's word lists, but keep in mind that these are not moderated by Bezier Games. Alright, well there is Werewords. Now, I highlighted this game when I got back from Gamma because I played it there and had a lot of fun with it. Now I've had more time to play with multiple different player accounts. Now, this idea of 20 questions brings me back to a kid. I mean, I used to play this game all the time with my mom and my dad. We had a lot of fun doing it on road trips and things like that. So to take that 20 questions idea and turn it into sort of a gamer's game with a social identity aspect to it is excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It's a lot of fun. If you've ever played any of the Bezier Games Werewolf games or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, any of those series, you'll catch on to this really quickly, and it's just a lot of fun. Now, there's a lot of things I like about this. The whole intrigue of finding that word is a lot of fun. It's fun to, you feel like you're cooperating and you're working with other people and you're working with other players, maybe to try to find the word. But at the same time, everyone's trying to figure out, well, okay, well, if you're on the village team, you're trying to figure out, well, who's the werewolf? Is there somebody that's either slow playing it, not asking any questions, maybe just asking all bad questions, or maybe they're just trying to ask a bunch of questions, even if they're all yeses, to try to burn through all the tokens. There's a lot of different ways you can act as a werewolf in this game. And if you're a werewolf, you're probably doing one of those things, but you're also trying to figure out who is the seer, who seems to be knowing the most, guiding us the most, or who gave the one question that really turned the corner. So there's a lot of things going on above the table in this game. When you take such a simple idea of 20 questions and you put these layers on it, it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I see this working with in parties and working with gamers because of those different level of the roles. One of the things I really like, the app is awesome. It's great. The graphics are awesome. The audio is great. You have a lot of settings. I love the different word lists that you can put in on there. So you know, on werewords.com, you can have a bunch of different word lists. You can download some. Now, they're not moderated by Bezier Games, but you can have custom word lists, which I think is cool. But even just being able to choose from multiple words is cool, because sometimes you get to some of these games and you roll a die and you figure out what word it's going to be, and somebody might not know that. I run into this all the time with my wife. We play these funny games, these party games where they have to get someone to say a word, and a lot of times she doesn't know who that person is or has no clue what it is, and it frustrates her. And in this, you get to choose, so you have a much less apt to have that happen to you. I like the customization of the word difficulty. So we never even had to go past easy because we felt the game was easily balanced with that. But man, with all the different words, I've checked out some of the ridiculous ones. They are ridiculous. But I like being able to change the difficulty if you're wordsmiths. If you really like to figure out stuff and you want it very difficult, then you could do that. But you mix that difficulty with all of the different roles in any way, shape, or form. You can customize the game to your group, and I think that is a huge strength here. Well, the werewolves winning too often at this level, well, maybe we could keep the rules the same and change the difficulty. Or if we're on easy and it's still too difficult, well, let's add the beholder in there, right? So you can really calibrate it to your group, and it's best played multiple times, which you'll want to play multiple times because it's fun, but it's best played multiple times and you're constantly, dialing in the right difficulty and the right roles, and I think that's excellent. So a lot of that balancing. So is there anything negative I can say about it? Well, sometimes the werewolves can win just because even on easy, sometimes the word just might have been tricky. And they might not have had to have done anything. They could have just been normal, maybe some yeses, maybe some nos, and hiding well, doing what a werewolf should do. And sometimes they can win just because the people didn't figure it out. And that's a little bit of a letdown, but it's a minor quibble here because it didn't happen that often. It did happen once or twice out of the many games we played. But that was, if I'm really like nitpicking here, trying to find a negative here to have a balanced review. Another thing is, old people or people that are not familiar with technology might have trouble with the app. Someone's the mayor and they look at the phone and they might have to put their readers on and find it. Oh, what role am I? Wait a second, am I the werewolf? So, if you play with older people, you might want to walk them through that themselves. And even if it's that part, you can actually open your eyes and say, hey, look at this card, whatever it is, don't show it to me, and then push this button. So there might be a little bit of a learning curve there. So those are pretty much the only negative things I can say. The app is awesome, but it might be a struggle for some. But overall, I absolutely love this game. It is similar to a game that I reviewed earlier called Insider. I think that one is better for sort of mass market type of things where it's very simplistic. It's at its most roots. This can also be played as simple as that, but it adds all the layers of depth and social deduction, all the extra roles, which really makes the thing go off, and the app, in my opinion. And if you wanted to play this game as if it was the super simple Insider with not even a werewolf, I mean, you could, I guess. So this game's excellent, and I highly recommend it. So this is Werewords from Bezier Games, and because I'm keeping it in my gaming library, let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.